Alright, so there's something I would quickly like to say about building a prayer life. So I remember a particular time last week, I woke up in the night to pray, and actually, I wouldn't say I woke up to pray. I would say the thing that was doing me woke me up to pray. So I woke up, and then I woke up with this intense, intense burden to pray. I could literally sense the presence of God. Like I felt it. It was so strong. I know these things because I've actually experienced them, many a times in church setting, and many of those times also in my personal space. So I knew that the thing that was happening to me was a call from the Lord for me to come and spend time with Him, because I woke up before my usual time to pray, and so I knew that this thing was actually the hand of the Lord. And then, so I remember when I woke up that day, I was just doing a lot of things with my phone. I was trying to while away time, to just get to my, I was just trying to while away time so that when the time eventually gets to the time that I'm supposed to pray, then I will pray. But then it so happened that the thing that was happening to me was just so intense and beautiful. I was on Facebook that night and I was scrolling, but then I remember vividly that I found myself that day speaking in tongues even when I was scrolling on Facebook. Like all of a sudden, um, scrolling became a body. It became a body. I knew that I needed to pray, and so I now came out, went offline, and then started praying. And I remember that the prayer was so sweet, like so sweet. That day I did, like I didn't stress myself. You know, when you're praying and there's like everyone is just dry. That day it was not from the beginning of the prayer to the very end of the prayer. I knew that it was God. The prayer was just sweet. I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't praying on my own strength. Of course, when I pray, I don't pray on my own strength, but then there's a sense in which, when you're praying, it's like you start, how do we say it? You start mechanically so that eventually you will collide with the Holy Spirit and then He will take charge of the whole thing. And then it's those points where you get to in prayer, where prayer starts switching your body. I don't explain, but like it's like at that point, you don't want to stop. Yeah. And for me that day, that was my experience that day. From the beginning of the prayer to the very end. And of course, there have been days where this thing actually happened to me. But I'm citing that one because it was recent, and I'm saying this to say that many Christians are in this kind of place where that if they do not feel those promptings, they don't get those goosebumps um, of, of the Holy Spirit and all that, they won't pray. So that on the day where they sense the Holy Spirit, the presence of the Holy Spirit, then it's on those days where they will now make prayers to the Lord. And then on the days where they don't sense those things, then they would be found wanting on in their prayer altar and everything. And I'm saying that's a very bad place to be in as a Christian. It is beautiful to actually have those experiences and all of that, but you cannot pitch your tent around those experiences. You cannot say that, okay, I will not pray today because I have not sensed that presence. Because I'm telling you, those, those feelings we get about these presence things, like when we pray, they don't happen often. If you know prayer, if you pray prayer well, you will know that that thing does not happen often. It comes once in a while. And so, for example, now throughout last week, it was only once I actually experienced that thing. Only was I actually experienced that way that before I started praying, I sensed it. I'm not talking about the fact where you start praying and then you pray for a long time, yeah, so then you sense that thing. Many times when you sense that thing, it doesn't last long. It just comes for like 15 minutes. It just stays with you for 15 minutes and then it just dissipates. And then so it's almost like as though you are left alone, but you are not actually. But almost as though you are now left alone. So just continue pushing this thing. But I'm talking about the ones where you actually experience that feelings before you even start the prayer. And then when you start the prayer, it's like that thing still lingers till the time you are done praying. I'm saying that it will not always be the case that will be your experience. So that if you're trying to build a prayer life, I am telling you, you will feel it. You will feel the pain. I don't call it pain, but then you'll be praying and your eyes will be closing, but then you just have to pray. I'm saying that this is a very good place to be in as a Christian. Whether you don't really have to sense those things before you pray. You just pray. Because of the fact, because we are meant to live by faith. We are meant to live by faith. We are meant to live by faith. Faith to believe that God is with us even when we don't feel those, goosebumps or have those experiences where it's like the Holy Spirit literally there with you, like you can literally sense His presence. It will not always be the case. And since it will not always be the case, it just means that you have to pray without